Four Roses Small Batch Select. It's the top dog of the regular Four Roses lineup, but is it worth the extra cash? Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm taking a look at this Four Roses Small Batch Select to see if the top dog from the Four Roses regular lineup really is worth the extra. And, well, to be honest, I'm going to move this slightly to the side because whiskey bottles are quite difficult to film. Not because of the bottle necessarily, but because I always want to put it here, right in the middle, right? My microphone sits right there, it's blocking it, it sounds... Well, there you go. You can probably tell the difference if I talk like this and then suddenly take it away again, and it probably all just changes quite a lot, even though I realise I'm changing my tone, so I should probably stop doing that. But anyway, back to the whiskey. Four Roses just so happen to make 4 core range whiskies. It's not the reason they're called Four Roses, although it is a nice bit of symmetry. This one is the Small Batch Select and sits at what they consider to be the top of their list, but actually... well, it's not really that straightforward. So you've got your regular everyday Four Roses. You've got Four Roses Small Batch, not to be confused with this one. You've then got Four Roses Single Barrel, the one that most people rave about and actually believe to be the best. And then you've got this, the Small Batch Select. Now, the reason they're kind of in that order according to Four Roses anyway is because of the ABVs. This one is the strongest, coming in at a whopping 52% or 104 proof. I'd already forgotten. So it's not crazy, but it is a decent strength nonetheless. But it's not the oldest of the whiskies. This is comprised of whiskey between 6 and 7 years old, whereas the single barrel, which is technically one below it and is slightly cheaper, is actually older stuff, 7 to 9 years. So I'm not sure. I've had the single barrel quite a lot. I've had the regular and the small batch a fair bit, but never the small batch select. So today I'm going to get into this and find out, is it really worth the extra cash? But especially considering that actually it's only a few quid more than the single barrel. So yeah, it's going to have to go some to be really worth beating that out, because that is absolutely fantastic. Quick look at the bottle. I mean, it's a lovely looking thing. Look at it, massive, almost teardrop shape in reverse. This kind of vase-like, quite thin, but it's, I don't know, make a very nice infinity bottle or something. It's yeah, just looks the business. Now, as I'm trying to get into this, I will tell you about the mash bill, and the mash bill is interesting. I'm not going to recite it because it's kind of impossible to tell you what it is exactly. The reason that that's the case is because, unlike most bourbons, this is actually blended of 2 other bourbons. That bit's not, well, blending it isn't unusual. What does make this different though is it's not just blended in the fact that they take different barrels and blend them together like they normally would in pretty much any distillery, unless of course it's a single barrel, is that the blends that go into this come from 2 distinct different recipes. Normally they're blending the same recipe but from different barrels to achieve a consistent flavour. This is actually blended from 2 sets of barrels from completely different recipes. So yeah, I'm going to put like the variances on the screen now, but we don't know how many came from each recipe anyway. But all that we can really say is it's reasonably high rye, but yeah, that's kind of it. It's a bit of guesswork really at this point. But anyway, let's get it open. Oh, that was a good cork pop. In the glass, nice, rich, golden colour. I'll be honest, everyone reviews the appearance of whiskey. It makes a big difference in Scotch because a lot of it is coloured or not coloured and you need to talk about it. Bourbon's not coloured, so it's kind of irrelevant. This one though, actually there is something to talk about, and the fact that it's non-chill filtered. Chill filtration, or stating non-chill filtration in Scotch, is a big deal. Like, they want you to know if they've not chill filtered it. I will do another video on chill filtration, but ultimately it's just a filtration method but can inhibit some of the flavours, so purists don't really want it, basically. That's kind of it. All you need to know at this point. This one is non-chill filtered, but most bourbons, even if they aren't, don't tend to tell you because it seems to be less of a thing, but quite a lot of them are. So anyway, enough. But what it does mean is it has the potential to be a bit cloudy, but to be honest, no, not really. There might be a tiny bit of something kicking around in the glass. The other thing is, of course, and it does say on here, it's on the back, sediment from the barrel may be present in this non-chill filtered bottle. So If there is something floating around in here, it's kind of to be expected because they've not gone through that extra filtration process, but nothing massive anyway. But yeah, looks good. Looks good. Right, aromas. Now it is a neck pour, and I have started realising that I review a lot of whiskies on first opening, first reaction stuff, and that's fine. But I am going to have to start to redo them once they've been open for a bit, because they do change so much. They improve over time massively, and well, while some people believe the neck pour theory to be a bit of a myth, I can tell you maybe it's not exclusively the fact that it's in the neck, but the fact that there's not enough oxygen getting to it definitely does have a bit of impact. And I can already tell with this that it's holding on to a few secrets as a result. It's quite oaky, toasty, a bit of menthol in there, maybe even licoricey, like quite kind of herbal, cleansing, kind of clearing the airways. Feels like there's a load of fruity and sweeter notes trying to break out through, but getting dominated. Feels quite hot on the nose, quite a lot of spiky, yeah, ethanol burny bits going on. It's really oaky, almost barky in some way. It's certainly not the easiest to pull apart. There's a few appley notes, maybe some deeper berries as well, but I'll be honest, I'm really not getting them that much. So let's just jump into it, shall we? Cheers. Oh, that ain't hiding its ABV. Oh, that's the hottest one I've had for a while. Wow. I've drunk a fair number of around 50%, 100 proof whiskies, both Scotch and bourbon, in the last few weeks, and none of them have kicked like that. That is a bronco. Also, I'd like to say, if you only ever watch my whiskey videos, and that's fine if you do, like, not everyone's interested in everything, and you're thinking, I always wear the same clothes, not quite true. I've just kind of done, this is my bourbon shirt now. I feel like this is the most cowboy shirt I own, and for some reason, when I'm drinking bourbon, I want to wear this shirt. I'm sorry, it's a stereotype, I can't help it. This is the bourbon shirt from now on, and not every video will have it, but pretty much all of them, because it's just what I fancy wearing when I'm sipping a bourbon. This one, though, a few sips in, I'm still coughing when I take a sip, is straight out of the Wild West. It really is. It's hot, tickling, spiky, but there is a charm in that, I have to say. It's a really big, brash, oaky note on this. Again, like the aroma, some apple in there. There's also the default bourbon, caramel, fudgy, vanilla stuff going on. It's not dominant though, it's just there in the background, nice, setting the scene, what you would expect. But there is also something else. Yeah, it's got this extra thing. Again, like on the aroma, it's that herbal, medicinal. Not in the same way that Scotch is, though. Like, it's very much more down the Jägermeister-y route in terms of herbal, but it doesn't taste like Jägermeister, don't get me wrong. But it's got a bit of that vibe. It's that kind of, yeah, herbal, vegetal, come licorice almost thing. A bit of a flair in there. Super hot, super, I mean, you want some whiskey to help with a cold, then this ain't a bad shout. But is it worth the price? Jeez. Right, so first off, I've always liked Four Roses stuff in general, but I've never had this one. I find their stuff accessible, easy, very good quality for the price. Like, I've always enjoyed buying their things. This feels like a separation from the rest of their stuff. This isn't as easy, accessible. The quality's there, don't get me wrong. I mean, the legs on the glass. Can you see? Look at it. I mean, no issues with the body of quality or anything else. But it's punchy, it's spiky, proper. So it does separate itself a little bit from the rest of their line in that regard. Now, the regular comes in at like 20 to 25 quid a bottle. Don't actually see it that often in the UK these days, the regular. Then you've got the small batch, that kind of comes in at 30 quid. Solid for the price, absolutely great. Then you've got the single barrel, as we talked about before. A few quid less than this, kind of 45 to 47 pounds at the time of recording. This though, into the 50 quid bracket. So it is a bit more, can only be a few quid, but can be a bit more. And based on my experience, that this is so warm, like it's burning my throat. Don't know if it's just me today, this is so hot, it's unreal. Based on this experience, I'll be honest, given the choice, I'm going for a single barrel, because I don't need it to be this hot, this complex. I think it might calm down as it's opened, I hope it does, and we'll revisit this in some weeks' time to find out. But right now, this is the first whiskey I've done in a long, long time where I can actually turn around and say, you know what, I don't know if you should bother. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. If you like punchy, if you want to be challenged, you know, all that stuff, really try and pick some positives out of something it's weird because there's no off flavors here. It's delicious, it's tasty, it's oaky, woody, rich, depthy, but it's so hot right now that compared to anything else, I've opened cask strengths that aren't as punchy as this, and yeah, that is a problem for most people. Most people will not want that, so I can't tell you to go and get it. If you like the idea of that though, the rest of it's actually fantastic, so yeah, go ahead. But for me, given the choice between this and a single barrel, right now I'm going to say the single barrel, but as I say, we will revisit this in a few weeks' time because it's so punchy, it's so hot, I can't really get into it properly, and a lot of the flavours feel a bit closed off. So it is what it is. Probably not a fantastic video, I do apologise, but it's important that you know what it's like on initial opening if you're thinking about buying one of these, and that is just my honest opinion. So there you have it. Just before we wrap this up then, what other bottles should I pitch this again? Should I get a single barrel and put it head to head to that? Is there anything I've already reviewed that you've seen and I should pitch it against, or a new bottle completely? Let me know and I'll do my best to do so. Let me know please in the comments. But yeah, that really is everything. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.